Hello, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for Thursday, May 11th. On our satellite, you'll notice that we continue to watch an area of low pressure with the trough of low pressure extending back to the northwest from that over across the divide. As this low lifts northward, we're actually going to see that weaken, but the low to the west of that is the one that we're going to have to worry about. As this lifts northeast and weakens, another area of low pressure will reform over Wyoming and then shift back east across or west from east to west across the Great Basin into the Pacific Northwest over the next several days. So, with that in mind, we do have a few showers and thunderstorms that'll be around today. Not much in the way of precipitation is on the horizon. We will be watching temperatures warming up despite this low moving through. And that, with this pattern, we're expecting a daily chance of rain and thunderstorms with that low pressure system shifting west. Right now, we're not seeing any particular day that's going to produce a lot of precipitation, just some hit and miss showers with some light precipitation overall through the period. Our weather risk outlook, we've trimmed our impacts to flooding really back to the southeast highlands and up around the Wood River Valley. That's where we have most of our advisories and flood warnings in effect. We could still see some runoff issues and some minor flooding over portions of the eastern highlands and also up through the Lost River area. But other than that, our threat of flooding has really gone down. And you'll notice just about every day we do have, at least over parts of the area, a chance of showers and thunderstorms. We do have to watch the wind Friday through Sunday. It's not going to be terribly strong, but pretty breezy, and it'll be out of the northeast with that system shifting across our area. So we talked about some showers around for today. Early on, maybe a few light showers up around the Island Park area along the divide. That will kind of stay there through the rest of the morning. Now, we go into the afternoon, we'll just have some hit and miss showers developing with a few thunderstorms across the area. The risk of thunderstorms is really low, but it's not zero at this point. So we go into the afternoon, the showers and thunderstorms will have a general drift from north to south across the area, maybe from northwest to southeast. We'll really start to see most of the activity dying off right around sunset or just before. There's a low chance of a few showers or sprinkles hanging around the Snake Plain over in the eastern highlands back down towards Pocatello, the southeast highlands through midnight. But really, after that, anything that's around is pretty much going to be gone within a couple of hours of after midnight, it looks like at this particular point. For temperature wise today, 60 mid to upper 60s in many areas. We might be pushing 70 once you get over towards Twin Falls and over into the Treasure Valley. Otherwise, 50s and 60s will continue to be the norm. 40s in the higher elevations of the Central Mountains, also over into the Big Holes as well. For tomorrow, we warm it up a good 5-6 degrees in a lot of areas. So some low to mid 70s cropping up around Chalice and up towards Salmon. A good chunk of the Snake Plain in the Magic Valley and down into the South Hills will be in the mid 70s tomorrow afternoon. Finally, seeing some 60s pop up in the lower elevations of the Southeast Highlands and up towards Island Park as well. So, with these warmer temperatures coming, we're trading the rain, we're trading off to the warmer temperatures, and that's going to keep that threat of snowmelt and flooding going in the areas we mentioned a while ago with the in the weather risk matrix. Now, here are those wind gusts for tomorrow. You'll notice, like I said, they're out of the north to northeast. Some of these gusts in excess of 30 miles an hour, especially spilling over the divide and out of the Central Mountains up towards Mud Lake and up towards Monida Pass. Also into the higher elevations down south of the Snake Plain, some of those gusts well in excess of 30 miles per hour. For tomorrow night, the winds do pick up, and we'll start to see some of those stronger gusts farther down into the Snake Plain and the Magic Valley. In some areas, still seeing those gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. And on Sunday, that trend does continue, and those stronger gusts shifting finally down into the Magic Valley and down into the South Hills and also south of Twin Falls as well, and continuing into Saturday evening. They'll continue into Sunday, but certainly on a much lesser scale in terms of those wind speeds out there going into Sunday. For Saturday, those temperatures, we're still looking at plenty of 70s across the area. We might shave a degree or two off here and there, but otherwise pretty similar to what we're seeing for Friday on those temperatures. Picking up into Sunday, temperatures pushing closer to 80 down into the Magic Valley, into the Treasure Valley as well. The 70s spreading farther north into the Snake Plain. and more 60s cropping up in our colder spots of the southeast highlands up around Island Park and up in the central mountains as well. And on Monday, we see a lot more 80s, at least low 80s, cropping up across the area, especially once you get west of Pocatello and south of Burley over into the Treasure Valley as well. So, like we said, the warmer temperatures are returning, keeping the flood issue going across the area. Looking at some of our gauges where we have ongoing or expected potential issues with flooding. The Blackfoot River near the Blackfoot Reservoir in Henry still running at minor flood stage and should be staying there for the next several days. The Bear River over the Idaho-Wyoming border, we're in minor flood stage. It's taking a little bit of a dip, but even if it coming in below the latest forecast, we should be staying in minor flood stage as we head into next week. For the Bear River at Idaho, at the Idaho-Utah border, you can see it taking a really big dip overnight into yesterday, into the overnight hours this morning. We'll have to watch that forecast. At this point, probably still looking at staying in that action stage, maybe lower, obviously lower than the current forecast, but something to watch. And if there are any further releases through the Bear River upstream of that gauge, we'll probably see that curve going back up in the days to come. Checking out Marsh Creek out near McCammon, still flirting right at the low end of action stage with some flooding continuing down towards especially areas west of I-15 down towards Downey in that direction and on to the northwest from there. The Portneuf River at Tyhee is right around the action stage. We're kind of going up a little bit above and a little bit below that, and that trend should continue in the next few days. And at Topaz, we're staying at action stage with the warmer temperatures coming and a lot more snow to melt upstream from there. It looks like as we head into next week, we very well may be pushing back up into minor flood stage at that particular gauge along the Portneuf River. So moving downstream even further, looking at the Pocatello gauge on the Portneuf, you'll notice we're clearly still at moderate stage, but the trend is to take it down towards the high end of minor flooding as we head into the early part of this weekend or the early part of next week, and pretty much staying there over the next 5 to 10 days. And you'll notice even the forecast might be on the low end of that, but certainly staying on the high end of minor flood stage over into the next several days to come. The Big Wood River at Haley, we should continue to see it climb once again. The forecast has been tending for the past several days on the lower end of the envelope of different forecasts, potential forecasts for the river there, but you'll notice it goes back into minor flood into the early part of next week, and we're still looking about 80 to 90% chance of trying to go to moderate, but that's beyond the 10-day forecast. That's much farther down the road. We'll just have to see how things go in terms of warm up, how quickly snow melts, any precipitation that falls on top of that melting snow. And finally, looking at the Henry's Fork at Rexburg, we kind of go through a few stages with the forecast, but it does look like we eventually are the early to the middle part of next week are trying to get up to action stage, and there's still a 70+% chance of getting to minor flood. But again, that's beyond the 10-day forecast. So certainly something to keep in mind. We still have quite a bit of flooding to go in several areas of central and eastern Idaho. So like we said, we've got some active weather coming our way, but not a lot of precipitation, just some daily chances of some showers and thunderstorms around. Temperatures do warm up, even though we have low pressure coming from a different direction. Normally they're coming from west to east. This one, at least at this point, is going from east to west across the area. Have a great Thursday, and do stay safe out there, everyone.